Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Peace Ambassadors Gala. Am I not loud enough or okay? Fine, thank you. I would like not to delay the program today, so please continue to enjoy your meal while I invite to the stage a few important figures in our organization. First and foremost, I would like to ask the Honorable Dr. Curling to come to the stage to greet our guests for the evening. He is the President and Chair of the International Peace Alliance and the International Peace Festival, a former Cabinet Minister and Canadian Ambassador. Dr. Curling, thank you. I hope you can, maybe you may want to hold it, but...
I'm so pleased to see such wonderful, engaging, entertaining, and appetizing people really getting down to the dinner tonight, and that's nice. Let me just first say welcome to our International Peace Festival Gala event. And you know, before I even say anything more, let me first give credence to the Madame Gosovich, whose granddaughter had given us a wise advice about peace. And what the granddaughter said, leave people alone, let them do their own thing. We'd have peace. This interference, she, in her deeper mind, she was saying, this 10-year-old, 11-year-old was saying, if people just mind their own business, then they will get along very well. But we know, within all of that, it's almost impossible for senior people like us itself. You know, I said earlier on today that one of the sayings that follows me around from when I was a young man is to say, old men start war, young men fight them. So our young people are at that. Ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests and fellow advocate of peace, I stand before you today to speak on a subject that is timeless as it is urgent: peace. Peace, in its definition, is more than the absence, as we know, of conflict. It is the foundation upon which a life worth living is built. True peace is not merely the quiet after the storm, but the condition in which societies, nations, and individuals can, an opportunity, thrive. It is the atmosphere in which justice and dignity and opportunity, as I said, flourishes. Today, I wish to explore, and I know she said a very short speech and short greetings, but I will, like a preacher today, now that you're in the audience here, you can't escape. You'll have to listen to all of this and all that. Today I wish to explore the peace, as I say, in three crucial levels. One is in the national and international peace, institutional peace, and the peace that makes life truly worth living. We will also discuss strategies for achieving this peace, focusing on the social determinants of health, a vital tool in creating conditions for lasting harmony. National and international peace cannot be achieved by sheer luck or hopeful wishes. It must be the result of deliberate strategies, policies, and commitments. To build peace on a national level, countries must address the root causes of conflict: poverty, inequity, political oppression, and the erosion of human rights. National peace and efforts must be rooted in this idea that all voices matter and all citizens deserve a stake in their society. Internationally, Peace demands cooperation among nations, respect for sovereignty, and the promotion of diplomacy over aggression. In an interconnected world, no nation can truly enjoy peace when its neighbors suffer. We must embrace a multicultural diplomacy and peace-building efforts through global institutions like the United Nations. Conflict resolution mechanisms should prioritize dialogue, mutual respect, and compromise. In this regard, regional integration, such as the European Union or the African Union, shows how shared goals and collective governance can create a more peaceful coexistence among historically divided peoples. The strategy for global peace must be holistic and sustainable. Military solutions, while sometimes necessary, must be the last resort, and we are seeing it today. The priority should be on preventing wars by addressing inequality, lack of access to education, and economic disparities that fuel discontent. International aid programs and peacekeeping missions must focus on the development and empowerment, not temporary relief. Institutional peace is not only the responsibility of governments or international bodies. It must be institutionalized at every level of society. By institutional peace, I mean the peace that exists within our schools, workplace, courts, and civic institutions. These are the spaces where we interact daily, and they are critical to cultivating a culture of peace. To foster peace within institutions, we must promote inclusivity, justice, and transparency. Our schools must teach not only the academics, but also conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, and respect for diversity. Workplace must adopt policies that ensure fairness, equity, and non-discrimination, creating environments where everyone feels valued and safe. Justice systems must be impartial, must be humane, and committed to upholding the rule of law. The role of civic institutions, like religious organizations, community groups, and nonprofits, is equally important. They can provide the platforms for dialogue, mediate local conflicts, and support reconciliation efforts. By institutionalization, peace, we ensure that our social structure contribute to stability and cooperation rather than division and unrest. Peace that makes life worth living. Lastly, let us turn to the most important and profound form of peace, the peace that makes life really worth living. This is the kind of peace that goes beyond the treaties and legislation. It is the peace found in secure, healthy, and just societies, where individuals can pursue their dreams without fear of violence, oppression, or deprivation. One of the most effective strategies for building this kind of peace is addressing the social determinants of health. These are the conditions in which people born, grow, work, live, and age. Social determinants of health, such as access to education, adequate housing, clean water, nutrition, and employment opportunities, have a profound impact on persons' well-being and, by extension, on the peace of the society they live in. Poverty, for instance, is both cause and consequence of conflict. It strips individuals from their dignity and leaves them vulnerable to malnutrition and violence. Addressing poverty through comprehensive social policies is therefore a peace strategy in itself. Education is another pillar of peace. It empowers individuals, promotes critical thinking, and reduces the allure of radical ideologies. By ensuring equitable access to education, particularly for girls and marginalized communities, we invest in a more peaceful future. Healthcare access is also fundamental. A society where people live in constant fear of illness or death due to the lack of medical care is one that cannot experience peace. Universal health care, mental health support, maternal care are critical for creating societies where people feel secure and valued. In conclusion, a call of action to peace is not a passive state, but an active, ongoing process that requires commitment, resources, and vision. Whether we are working towards peace within nations, within our institution, or within our personal lives, we must recognize that strategies for achieving peace are interlinked. We must invest in education, health, and the social fancy nets that prevent us from all these atrocities. And I want to say to you, my friends and colleagues, that we are at a crossroad, a huge crossroad in life. Sometimes we wonder that, I remember people saying we have had 2 world wars and we won't have a third. Now we're having about 10 or 15 third world wars right now, all over the world. They are in different places, different spots, and everyone, as I said, if you are not at peace at home, the neighbor is not at peace beside you. So I say to you all today, as we gather and dine with colleagues of the same mind and thoughts and determination, let us look at peace. But let us not forget to leave this world. We are much older than we think we are, but there are young people behind us that will have to be inheriting this atrocious aspect of things that are happening today. Let peace be on you. Peace be with all. Thank you, Val.
Thank you so very much to the Honorable Dr. Alvin Curling. And as Dr. Curling pointed out, healthcare is one of the major initiatives of the International Peace Alliance. As you are all aware, this Peace Ambassadors Gala is in support of McMaster Children's Hospital. For purposes of this particular initiative, I would like to call Dr. Bernard Gosevitz, Chair of our Peace Ambassadors Gala Committee and Director of the Gala. Thank you. Sir, if you would like to come to the stage.
Thank you, Angelique. I only really joined this committee for a few reasons. The first one is my wife, my lovely wife, Susan Gosevitz, is one of the honorees. And having seen her development of art over many years, her art brought peace and serenity, not only to her and her fellow artists that all painted together, but people who looked at her paintings, including tremendous people like Robert Bateman, who most of you would know of. He was one of her teachers and mentors. The second reason was it's sort of nice to be known as Susan's husband. I thought that was great. Thirdly, the thought of getting involved in an organization that's global and that talks about world peace really, really echoed with me. Way back when I was a medical student, what appears to be 1,000 years ago, the World Health Organization's definition of health, believe it or not, was absence of disease. I couldn't believe the definition as I got older. The definition of world peace is what? Absence of war? It's not that simple. My career has taken me to several continents. I've worked in places that, as a general practitioner, native of Ottawa, I never thought I'd ever find myself. One of the incidents that I had really started to resonate tonight as I listened to that wonderful speech by Dr. Curling. I was in Peru working up in the mountains, and through an interpreter, because my Spanish teacher fired me for not doing my homework, I was addressing a gathering of the Ancash tribe up in a valley. And it's to do with the mining industry, moving in there, taking over. And I asked, what could we do to make their lives better? Two things came up which resonated tonight. The first was clean water. That's all they wanted. And education for their children. And then the cultural side of it hit. One of the ladies sitting on this hilltop addressed me in Spanish. Her husband or partner turned around and punched her. And she was only allowed to speak Quechuan. She wasn't allowed to speak Spanish or English. No other language was permitted. That really set me back. Coming from Canada, you don't expect to see things like that. But I saw it, and hopefully several months later, I officiated at the opening of a new children's hospital in the town of Juarez, as well as rebuilding the local general hospital. Now, as we go through lives, we have embarrassing moments. Well, opening of that hospital, I was embarrassed. My interpreter, Pilar, wrote me a speech, and phonetically I could read Spanish quite well. I got to the opening, I was supposed to cut the ribbon, and I left the speech elsewhere, and I was really wanting to say something meaningful. So I tried to say in Spanish that I was very embarrassed, I couldn't converse in their language. And if my memory's correct, I said, yo estoy muy embarazado. I think I told everybody I was pregnant. At that point, I had a lot of new friends once they got off the floor from laughing at me. But, having the ability to work in different countries, seeing what happened, I was in the early 80s, I was in Sudan for 3 months. I won't go into that. Being given the opportunity to join this organization and to help out really is important, because my granddaughter, Hannah, that Dr. Curling quoted, they say from the mouth of babes. And as you spoke, I might have added one more thing. Young people, young men fight the wars. It's young people who die. And I've seen that. It's not pretty, and it's something that an organization globally like this can make a huge difference in. If we could only get people to talk to each other. It's all it takes. It's not leave each other alone. It's something called communication. I remember the early Muppet shows. What did they talk about? Communication. Those of you that are old enough to have seen it. Communication is something that you're trying to do here. It's working. People interact. People care about each other. And that message has got to go from a lovely gala like this. We're having great food, great entertainment, great beverages. But take it away with you. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends. Next time, maybe you're at a social gathering, start a discussion about peace, because it begins at the grassroots. The world is in a mess. The world is in denial. There's an old saying, denial isn't just a river in Egypt. And the world's a mess. And it's going to take a lot of hard work from human beings, from people to reach out to each other, try to understand each other, try not to blow each other's brains out. There's no room for that in humanity. I don't think the greater beings up there ever meant it that way. So I'm glad I could contribute a little bit late, but that's okay. The best is yet to come. We'll see what happens. Anyway, have a great evening, and I'm very grateful to have had a chance to speak to you. I'm grateful to have my family here, and especially Susan, and I'm grateful that all of you perhaps will take away a desire for world peace. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Gosevitz, for those inspiring comments and your wonderful speech. Next, I would like to invite to the stage Ms. Sherry Buccini, who is with the Hamilton Health Sciences Foundation. She will be speaking on behalf of the foundation and McMaster Children's Hospital, our charity cause. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It is certainly my privilege to be here tonight, speaking on behalf of a charity partner that's going to deeply benefit McMaster Children's Hospital. McMaster Children's Hospital is one of the gateways of newcomers, a substantial of newcomers to Canada, serving our children, and also refugees. And so when I think about what is being accomplished here tonight, and the ongoing outcomes, it's very close to my heart to be able to stand here amongst friends who are continuing to give back. I personally believe that if you change children's health, you change the future. And so, unfortunately, in Canada, children's health is one of the most underfunded in our healthcare system. So as I listen to previous speakers thinking about social determinants and how we're trying to improve in society, there are great strides moving forward, but in our healthcare system, in Ontario in particular, it is through the generosity of individuals and community support that most equipment and capital are all funded in our healthcare system. And so when we think about that life-saving care from a little one right through to a newcomer who is coming, recently in our oncology area, there were many families who've come, and of course they've been in a refugee camp for many months, and they come to Canada, and they don't understand, and suddenly they're faced with 3 children with very severe and complex issues. And this is an ongoing story that we hear every week as a result of care that's being attached. And so thank goodness for our incredible healthcare system funded through kindness like tonight's gala, that we're able to make an impact, that we're able to support. And in particular, when we think about child and youth mental health, McMaster Children's Hospital is one of the largest inpatient child and youth mental health programs in all of Canada, and the largest in Ontario. And so not only when we think about things like newcomers to Canada or refugee, what trauma and tragedy has been a part of their lives and what supports they need on their healthcare wellness journey, but also we've all just come out of COVID. And so I was sharing the unfortunate circumstances that the most vulnerable and fragile children, anything from very young straight through to 18 years of old. And so if we are able to facilitate incredible best practices, McMaster Children's Hospital, as a result of generous community support, is able to pilot incredible initiatives that are coming from all over the world to be able to provide safety pods that come from the United Kingdom instead of restraining very severely injured and fragile individuals. And I think that ultimately at its core, I think about peace being about us accessing our humanity. And so when I think about everyone in this room tonight and the kindness and thoughtfulness that I've seen demonstrated, it's about reaching deep into our souls and having common values and trying to make a difference for others. And so I really compliment each of you for the acts that you are doing daily that are making a difference. I speak to you not only as a representative of McMaster Children's Hospital, but as a mother, as a wife, as a community citizen, as someone who cares to make my community better in many different ways for very many worthy missions. And I'm so grateful to be surrounded by many here that are trying to do similar acts. And so through those accumulations, we're able to make an impact. So to Angelique and your incredible community of supporters that have facilitated this lovely evening, the Peace Ambassadors Gala, but also the International Peace Festival, just wonderful congratulations to you all for every single act you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Now I would like to call to the stage our final speaker and our honoree, Mr. Terrence King, the president of the Miss Space of Humanity organization, representing our Global Peace Ambassadors program, and Miss Wing Hu, Miss Space of Humanity, and the Canadian representative of the organization. If you would be kind enough to join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Angelique. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here to celebrate peace, and I'm very grateful to be in the presence of each and every one of you. In my work, I do a lot of youth empowerment programs from all over the world. And as we gather here today, we're gathered because we want to celebrate a fundamental truth, that peace is not just the absence of war, but it is the fundamentals for us to understand that there could be wars happening in the world, there could be nations fighting each other, but the biggest question is not in the act, it's what we do as human beings that matter. My mom taught me something very powerful. She said, any moment you have the opportunity to lend your voice for something bigger than yourself, always take the opportunity. Life is not about money. Life is about purpose. Ask yourself every single day, what am I doing with my life? Nobody is here by mistake. Everybody is here by divine orchestration. There is something that only you can accomplish on the face of the earth. And that is why we are here. I found my voice. My voice is to inspire people to see deep within them that they have the power to change what needs to be changed. Today, we look at what is happening in the world. It's a mess, as our doctor said. Countries are fighting each other. People are hating each other. Even right here in this city, there's a lot of impatience. But sometimes you ask yourself, what is life all about if it's not about love? Peace is not the laws that we have written down by the government. Peace begins within each and every one of us. It is our daily actions, the kindness we show to people, the compassion, the love. These are all the things that are ingrained in peace. If we as individuals lead by love, by example, I believe that the peace that we are looking for will come. You cannot change the world if you cannot change yourself. You cannot lead the world if you can't lead yourself. These are all the fundamental truths that I've learned, and through the programs that I do with youth from across the world, I teach them one simple principle. You might see your neighbor. Your neighbor is different than you in color, race, ethnicity, language, but at the end of the day, we all have one shared common humanity, and that is love. I stand today to urge each and every one of you, always fight for what is right. When you go outside and travel outside of Canada and go to regions and zones that are affected by war, you would know that you will see life in a different way. There are people that are dying and suffering. There are people that have nothing. Afghanistan, Sudan, Congo, and the list go by. There are kids that are begging just to survive. They're not even thinking about their dreams, what they want to become. They're thinking about, how can I get a meal today? That's the reality of a lot of people in the world. When we have the opportunity, giving a $5 or helping any kid from different parts of the world, you are contributing to the development of peace. Because at the end of the day, when you see the face of a child that has been beaten down by poverty, beaten down by stress, and you can contribute to help this child, to give this child a life, a future, you see the smile on the child's face, that is peace. Whatever we can do as humans, we can contribute to peace. And we have the power to do that. That's why I want to take this moment to thank Angelique, because when I look at her, I see strength. She's a fighter. She has convictions. She believes in this platform and what she's doing. And when I look at her actions, it gives me hope, knowing that there are people that are here still fighting to ensure that we live in a harmonious world. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to encourage each one of us that we can build a world where love triumphs over hate. Dialogue replaces violence, and hope illuminates our path. Only through this can we live and ensure and see a peaceful world. Thank you so much.
It's my honor here to attend this peace conference, and I hope that everyone's having a wonderful night. I think that a peaceful world requires each and every one of our help, and it's very essential for us to seek help to those that are struggling in the world. I think that peace is not only a world that there's no war, but a world that has tolerance, care for others, and accepting and appreciating each and every one of those that are around you. Because peace starts from one, and it grows and grows and grows. And I'm really happy to see how much people are here to support this cause tonight. I think it's really, really fortunate to see that there are people that are willing to change and are willing to give help in the world. I'm extremely honored, and I hope that each and every one of you enjoys the rest of the night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I noticed that we're still at the dessert stage. I hope you have all finished your meal. If not, please do continue. I hope we have not interrupted. Please go ahead with the dessert, coffee and tea, and we will be having our auction, live auction, during the dessert stage of the meal. Now, as you all noted, we have a silent auction of many incredible items. We would like to thank Night Auction for assisting to manage this auction for us today. Proceeds from the auction are for the McMaster Children's Hospital. Proceeds will be going to McMaster Children's Hospital, priority needs. And we are going to have a short, brief live auction here in the ballroom this evening. Not all of the items that you see outside, but the ones that are here before us. In this, at this stage, I would like to thank, of course, our major sponsors. We have with us Saks Fifth Avenue, which has sponsored this event, as well as Turkish Airlines, a platinum sponsor of the event, and McCrew Construction Law Firm. So thank you all to contributing to this event and to the cause. And please go ahead with the dessert selection, and I would like to ask the auctioneer to come forward and to begin the auction. Thank you. We will continue with Commander CD-ROM afterwards to perform for us the world premiere of The Flame of Humanity. He has flown from Paris to be here to join us for this celebration, and he is the director of our Music for Peace program. So he will perform a short, brief selection after the auction, and the dance floor will be opened for enjoyment and dancing. Thank you to all.